Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Ticks. I know, taking a break in the schedule here because JD Vance had something to say. I don't know what he said. As y'all know, we watch these press conferences with virgin eyes and ears. A lot of people have lost their banana chips over what happened yesterday. You've got goofy white liberals threatening ICE agents, saying that people should get their pew pews and pew pew ICE agents if they see them. And the FBI is going to be very, very busy. Very, very busy next week for this week. If they're not busy already. But let's hear what our future president has to say. Let's get to it.
Let me be clear. President Trump and his entire administration stand fully behind the heroic men and women of ICE and will always uphold law and order in the United States of America. The deadly incident that took place in Minnesota yesterday occurred as a result of a larger, sinister, left-wing movement that has spread across our country, where our brave men and women of federal law enforcement are under organized attack. Right now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers are facing a 1,200% increase in assaults, a 3,200% increase in vehicle rammings, and an 8,000% increase in death threats. ICE agents are faithfully enforcing federal law to protect the safety of the American people by removing criminal illegal aliens from our country, which is exactly what nearly 80 million Americans elected President Trump and Vice President JD Vance to do. Radicals in the Democrat Party are furious over this. They don't want our border secured or criminal illegal aliens being removed. As a result, Democrats are impeding immigration enforcement operations daily, creating extremely heightened and dangerous circumstances that make it nearly impossible for the men and women of law enforcement to simply do their jobs. Democrats are calling to defund federal law enforcement agencies who are protecting public safety. And Democrats are calling to abolish ICE and defund the police. That will never be allowed to happen under this president and vice president. The Trump administration will redouble our efforts to get the worst of the worst, criminal illegal alien killers, rapists, and pedophiles off of American streets. The Department of Homeland Security will continue to operate on the ground in Minnesota, not only to remove criminal illegal aliens, but also to continue conducting door-to-door investigations of the rampant fraud that has taken place in the state under the failed and corrupt leadership of Democrat Governor Tim Walz. Taxpayers have been ripped off to the tune of billions of dollars in this one state alone, and that is going to end, and people are going to be held accountable. The Trump administration has activated thousands of federal agents, doubled the number of U.S. attorneys in the DOJ office in Minneapolis, and surged resources to hold fraudsters accountable and demand justice for law-abiding American taxpayers and citizens across our country. And that's what brings the vice president out here with me today to discuss all the Trump administration is doing and to make an additional important announcement on this front. So please, Mr. Vice President, will be joining us now. Thank you.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to echo some of what Carolyn said about what we're doing to combat the rampant fraud that exists in our immigration system, thanks to failed politicians and thanks to people who allowed the American taxpayer to be taken advantage of for far too long. I think it's important to understand why this matters to the American people. I am a father of 3 young kids, a lot of people in my generation. What is that going on there? Is that normal? Okay.
Yeah, I thought somebody was taking pictures.
Camera just to throw me off my game, but it's not going to work. So here's the simple fact here. If you're a young parent, struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way. I want to thank a couple of people for their cooperation, in particular Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, first of all, for getting a lot of resources to Minneapolis to start to investigate and prosecute this fraud really at an industrial scale. We've never seen fraud like this in the history of our country. Pam has been doing a great job to get the resources there to uncover it. But importantly, creating a job like this often takes months, sometimes even longer. When we realized that we needed this Associate Attorney General position, Pam got this person up and running in about a week. We're going to make the nomination hopefully in the next few days. We'll obviously let you guys know who that is when we do it. I've talked to Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has promised me swift confirmation for this official. But this is the person who is going to make sure that we stop defrauding the American people. Here's one final thing I'll say about this. I've heard a lot of people say that we need a special counsel to investigate fraud in the United States of America. I actually agree, and that's what this position does. It has all the benefits, all the resources, all the authority of a special counsel, but with two crucial differences. Number one, it will be run out of the White House under the supervision of me and the President of the United States. And number two, it's actually constitutionally legitimate. As you guys may know, the special counsel statute has some major constitutional questions. When we get the bad guys, we want to make sure we get them permanently and they don't have some legal technicality they can get out of, which is why we set it up as an Associate Attorney General. I'll take some questions, but I want to just one final observation here. When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo.
Hold on. It's like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. I've never watched Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I get the premise, but yes, finally, they're setting up the Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. I love it. I love it.
Of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it. And that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile. What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before. And everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
Yeah, because somebody, I just found this like right before I came in, and we'll read this. This woman, Lauren Chin, she wrote, I just figured out why the Minnesota ICE death is bothering me so much. This liberal woman, and nobody has more white privilege than the white liberal female and her Negro slave counterparts, both black males and females, more females than males, but you know, slave males follow their enslaved females more than anybody. 92 and 77%. You're not enough to win a second civil war, and you don't have the weaponry or the intellect to do it. But at any rate, let me save that for something else. This liberal woman was willing to take on federal agents to disrupt ICE operations in order to protect criminal Somalis. Obviously, she probably didn't imagine she would be killed, but surely she must have known that at the very least she could be arrested. She has 3 kids from a previous marriage, so she was willing to be separated from her kids to protect criminal Somalis. So she was a lesbian single mother of 3. Speaking as a mother, this is insanity. This is not rational thinking. What it is, instead, is the result of liberal brain rot that convinces progressive women they have more of a duty to nurture and protect poor, brown, criminal strangers than their own country, and hell, even their own children. I ain't praying for this woman's soul and for her family. Fuck her. But I mean it when I say this type of thinking is almost wholly responsible for the decline of Western civilization. Say, you talking about Kamala trash BS as voters? Yes. ICE has the right to engage if threatening by the aggressor. Yes. So of course it's self-defense. It's labeled as self-defense. If you watch the other video from the front, because we saw the one where you saw the ICE agent like from the behind angle, but you can see she gunned it at him. The front angle, you can see clearly she clipped him with her car. She hit his whole left side with the car and he popped her. I don't want to show that video, but it's out there. It's out there. But let's get back to JD Vance.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I wanted to read a quote from Tim Walz earlier today. He said, when things...
Wait. Okay, so who's here? Okay, so we got California Cutie. She looked like she rushed in. All right, let's see. Okay, we got Peter Ducey. Peter Ducey, he hasn't been in the press pool in a minute. All right, he's here. No, she, Caitlin Collins. Let's see here. This chick, she's been here. I never did label her because she just average white chick. Let's see. Miles Garrett. Looks like Miles Garrett is here. Let's see. Auntie. Black Auntie. She ain't here. Of course, you got the little You know, the black chick with her glasses. Let's see. Where the brother at? Where's my toupee brother? Is this him? I don't think this is him. You don't have. Oh, here's California Surfer. Okay, here's California Surfer. Got new faces. I don't know who this chick is sitting in the main press chair, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But let's get on to the questions.
This is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I wanted to read a quote from Tim Walz earlier today. He said, when things looked bleak, it was Minnesota's first that held the line for the nation on July 3rd, 1863. And I think we may be in that moment now. Can you comment on his rhetoric and Mayor Jacob Frey and whether they want to see unrest in Minneapolis?
Well, that's very tough rhetoric from a guy who just quit because his fraudulent activities have been uncovered. Look, Tim Walz is a joke. His entire administration has been a joke. The idea that he's some sort of freedom fighter, he's not. He's a guy who has enabled fraud and maybe, in fact, has participated in fraud. That's what this new assistant attorney general position is going to find out. I don't care what Tim Walz says. I care about getting to the bottom of this fraud for the American people, and I care about enforcing the nation's immigration laws. That's what we're going to stay focused on.
Vice President, a related question here. I mean, Democrats have accused ICE of murder. They've said they're targeting Americans. They've told ICE to get the F out of Minnesota. This is going to stoke the fire against ICE agents. And you're talking about ICE agents right now, being concerned about them. What, if anything, is the administration going to do to make sure these folks are protected during these protests? But also, should DHS sort of revisit their procedures here? I mean, nobody wants to see an American killed. Are there changes that need to be made to make sure something like this doesn't happen again?
Look, first of all, of course, nobody wants an American citizen to be killed. This is absolutely a tragedy. But it's a tragedy of the making of the far left. They have radicalized a very small segment of the population, taught them that ICE agents are engaging in wide-scale violation of people's rights. What our ICE officers are doing is deporting the millions of criminal aliens that were let in during the Biden administration. So number one, we have to say, as a matter of leadership, and I would appreciate if the Democrats would join me on this, let's be honest about the fact that we have way too many illegal aliens in this country. Our ICE officers should be supported in doing their job. You're trying to actually marshal the far left lunatic fringe to engage in doxing, to try to make it impossible for them to enforce the law, and in some cases actually to engage in acts of domestic terrorism against our law enforcement officers. When you talk about different plans, different protocols, different policies, I forget exactly how you asked the question. Here's the simple fact. What we're going to do is make it easier for the American people's administration to enforce the American people's law. And that means that Democrats have to stop rallying the mob against legitimate law enforcement operations. And that means that we are going to get tougher. And that's what this AAG position is about. We're going to get tougher at the people who are defrauding the United States by inciting violence against our law enforcement officers. That's one of the things that we're going to do. We've already started that work at the Department of Justice. We're going to keep on doing it. And this new AAG position is going to kick that into high gear.
Well, what you need to do, because I wanted him to say it. I want to see what he had to say. You need to start charging these freaking Democratic leaders with inciting violence. Jacob Frey, this new mayor, you may not be. Look, if you run a forensic audit on him, it may be hard to get him. It may be hard to charge him with taking bribes because these Somalians are using their ill-gotten, stolen gains and they used it to fund his electoral campaign. Because remember, they had another Somalian that was running for mayor in Minnesota. I'm about to drop something on y'all. So apparently there is, of course, in every group, there's fractions in the Somalian empire. So if you want to call it empire, then the pirate empire. The guy who was running for mayor, the Somalian who was running for mayor, he was part of the old Somalia, whereas you have a new Somalian empire that's backed by Israel, where the new Somalian empire are the ones who have been stealing our tax dollars. You understand? And been sending it to Nigeria. I saw a video today where all of these mansions are being built in Nigeria, and these people only come and stay in these mansions for like a month out of the year, and then come back to the United States to send millions back home or back to Nigeria / Africa. How the hell are they making millions of dollars? There's no Nigerian Fortune 500 companies. There are no Somalian Fortune 500 companies. Where are these millions upon millions of dollars coming from? They're coming from fraud of the United States. The U.S. just launched an investigation into what they call the Somalian government. Not enough. I hear what you're saying, but not enough. But if you want to get Jacob Fry to stop saying all types of seditionist things, and Tim Walsh and Mom Domney and the new chick out there in Portland, Oregon, the new mayor out there, that white female, if you want them to stop saying seditionist things, then you need to start charging these people. Start charging them with inciting violence, inciting riots. You can do it. It doesn't matter. We don't care if the case sticks or not. Charge them with that to make them sweat, to make them back up. And then you run the forensic audit on them. You let these people know, hey, look, we got you under the microscope. Keep talking. Keep talking. Trust me, we will eventually get you on something. We will find something to make it stick. We'll go ahead and slap you with federal charges. Do understand, if you get slapped with a Fed case, like they did Diddy, they slapped Diddy with the Fed case, right? He had to spend millions of dollars just to get charged and get convicted for 4 years just for paying prostitutes. Diddy got convicted for tricking. Y'all do understand that. He got convicted and sent to 4 years in prison just for tricking. He had to spend millions of dollars just to fight that case. You start doing that to these mayors and governors, go ahead. You bankrupt them. Make them sweat. You send a clear message. We're not playing with you. It doesn't matter whether you win the case or not as the federal government. You drain their bank accounts. You destroy their mental health. You psychologically and financially destroy them, whether you win or not. You see, Fonnie Willis lost. She lost her case with all of her race baiting bullshit. She lost her case. You do the same thing to Mamdani. You do the same thing to Jacob Fry. You do the same thing to the chick out there in Washington or Oregon. Make them fight for their freedom. Just drain them dry. You got the money. You're the federal government. You got the money. Make them leave in disgrace. You say, Don, they want sympathy when a woman got deleted, but same ones are celebrating Hulk Hogan passing just because he supports Trump. I mean, you saw members of Congress celebrating that Charlie Kirk got deleted. And, you know, people claiming he racist. I'm like, well, where's the racism? Because he didn't kiss black ass? He's a racist? Anybody that's non-black that don't kiss black ass is a racist. I want y'all to understand that. Even though black people have zero power in this country. Zero power. We as black people have zero power in this country. We are at the very, 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 very fucking bottom of the economic ladder in this country. We have zero power. What are we gonna do? Not buy some Jordans? Not buy the latest iPhone? He tried to do the whole Target boycott with that goofball Al Sharpton, who brought in a bunch of elderly black people over the age of 50, and the majority of them kept them damn $50 gift cards that they were supposed to spend at not Sam's Club. What was the other one? Not Sam's Club? What was the one they went to? I can't even think of that crappy little spot that they went to. But they didn't even spend the gift cards there because they were supposed to, because the photo op was that they were supposed to take the $50 gift card, buy a 600 pack of toilet tissue for $49.95 and walk out and act like that, you know, yeah, we going here, we shopping here instead of Target. Them people kept them gift cards and turned around and sold them. Yeah, the Target boycott was ridiculous. That was the goofiest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Them black folks, them elderly black folks turned right back around with them damn gift cards and sold them. $25 for a $50 gift card that they got for free from Al Sharpton. You understand? I live in Atlanta. If I go to my local Target right now, it's full of black folks. Every time I went to my Target, it's full of black folks. Ain't nobody paying attention to y'all goofy little boycotts. Yeah, that was hilarious. Because didn't nobody want to buy y'all little horrible black products that was collecting dust on Target shelves in the second Trump made DEI legal. They threw that shit away. Here, come here. Your boxes, your stuff is sitting on the curb, Shaniqua. Come get it. Come get your cat pee smelling perfume. Yeah. These people's products were more terrible than the pink sauce lady. But I digress. Let's get back to this.
Vice President Vance, you just suggested that this woman who was killed, Renee Good, is part of a broader left-wing network. Who do you think is behind this broader left-wing network?
Great question.
Well, it's one of the things we're going to have to figure out. But here's the way that I put it. When somebody throws a brick at an ICE agent or somebody tries to run over an ICE agent,
that ICE agent needs to blow your goddamn brains out.
Who paid for the brick? And who told protesters to show up and engage in violent activity against our law enforcement officers? You see, just with this most recent terrible incident in Minneapolis, you see friends of this woman's or other people who are eyewitnesses saying basically that she was there to engage in obstruction of a legitimate law enforcement operation. How did she get there? How did she learn about this? There's an entire network, and frankly, some of the media are participating in it, that is trying to incite violence against our law enforcement officers. It's ridiculous, it's preposterous, and part of our investigatory work is getting to the bottom of it. Who's funding it? Who's supporting it? Who's cheerleading it? And of course, if there's illegal activity related to that, we're going to get to the bottom of that and prosecute it where we can.
Vice President, thank you for taking questions today. Is there a risk with you describing her as a deranged leftist, talking about very specific facts of these events, when an investigation is just beginning? Are you preempting a thorough investigation by drawing such conclusions? And have you received any information beyond the videos we've seen publicly about this individual, her specific acts, that has informed your point of view?
Well, first of all, the Department of Justice is going to investigate this. The Department of Homeland Security is already investigating this. But the simple fact is, what you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who was trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy, while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left, who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe, against our law enforcement officers. I think what is clearly happening here, and it's going to keep on happening unless the Democrats wake up and say, you know what? You don't have to agree with our immigration policies. You don't have to agree with what the president or the vice president believe about immigration enforcement. But why don't you take this to the ballot box? Why don't you vote? Why don't you organize? Instead, what some of them are doing, What some of them are doing is encouraging people to get violent with our law enforcement officials. It's disgraceful and it's got to stop.
I'm gonna say this right now. You say out there looking like fake ass cheap version of Black Mafia family. I'm gonna say this right now. Even though I don't want a second civil war to kick off, if a second civil war does kick off, I mean, I got my stuff. You know, ask Charles. I know y'all think, oh, Bates just talking shit. Ask Charles. Seriously, ask Charles. Those of y'all that have his number and whatnot, ask Charles. Ask Charles. Because, you know, Charles is former military, former law enforcement. Me and him talk. I got his number. Ask Charles. Hey, man, go ahead. Call him up and talk shit about me to Charles. Bates just talking shit. Ask him. Go ahead. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. Call up Charles Faulkner Jr. and talk shit about me. Say that, oh, man, Bates just talking to him. He ain't finna bust a grape. Go ahead. I dare you. I dare you. I fucking dare you. Matter of fact, call Lewis. Do it with Lewis. I dare you. I dare you. I just got my shit. I got more packages picked up that came out today. I dare you. I've been telling y'all for since 2023 when I opened up the Embrace Villainy channel. Hey, look, man, y'all need to be prepared. Y'all need to be prepared. And Professor Black Truth been telling y'all for years. Power tools. You think he was joking? If he joking, I'm joking. His whole thing was against, you know, white supremacy, which would be the Democrats, the Confederacy. My whole thing is anybody that's not American first. That's not American first. It has nothing to do with your skin color. If you're not American first and a civil war pop off, go ahead. Allah Akbar it. I dare you. Go ahead. I ain't gonna say nothing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Go ahead. I dare you. I ain't got nothing to say. Because this, understand, as much as we bitch, moan, whine, and complain about the American power structure, you live here. I'm just preparing my financial situation. Me too. But you got to be well-rounded. You got to be able to protect your homestead. My whole thing is that we live here. America is as black men in America, this is our homestead. We have no fucking friends nowhere else in this country. Not no Hispanic bitches in Colombia that'll scopolamine your ass. Not no Asian bitches in Thailand, in the Philippines that'll romance scam your bitch ass. You have no friends. This is your homeland. Defend it. Defend it. You're not welcome anywhere except here. Amongst those that you say, hey, look, I'm an American. Yes, I'm a black American, but I'm an American though. I'm here to defend the homeland. What type of American are you? I am a full-blooded 100% American-born black man. This is my home. My passport, I can't get a passport anywhere else except for here because this is my home. And I will defend it to my very last breath. I don't give two shits about a foreign power. I'm not a Colombian. I'm not a Chinese. I'm not a Russian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm an American. This is where I was born. This is my homeland. Yeah, niggas think Africa will save them. No, they will not. As a Black American, the biggest scammers you will meet that are against you as a Black American are in Africa. Pick a nation. They love running scams on you. I got a Black female friend. I've known her since the Ohio days. She been beat up 3-4 times by African males because she over in Ghana. She done got her ass kicked about 3-4 times by African males because, you know, she mouthy. Cops, aka soldiers in Ghana, kicked her ass on three separate occasions. I'm pretty sure it's happened a fourth. I haven't checked in with her, but it's happened on 3 documented times by her. She had to defend what she called the land scam. That's a whole different video in itself, but I'll put it to you like this. The land scam in Africa, especially in Ghana, is that you go over there, you do understand that as a foreigner, you cannot own 100% of the land. You have to split it with a native. So it's a 50-50 split. At least that's what you think. So you build up the property, you know, because some chieftain or whatever owns the land. And then as soon as the property is built, all of a sudden, here comes the real owner. You get arrested or whatnot. They try to extort you for hundreds of thousands of dollars of American money. Or you have to forfeit the land. And you can try to take it to court all you want to, but the judicial system is so corrupt over there that they are in cahoots. They take the developed land from you, and you're left penniless and broke in Ghana. Senegal. These African countries, they prey on your stupid Black ass, thinking that I'm American. I'm an African American. I'm coming home. Yeah, they can't wait for your stupid Black ass to come over there so they can run game on you. You dumb kafir. And that's what she had to fight. I don't even know what the progress is on that, but you know, it looked like they may have taken her land. I'm not sure, but the last time I talked to her about that, yeah, she sitting up here bought land from some chieftain, and then the real owner showed up, and now she was fighting that. That's a regular occurrence over there in Africa. What'd you say, Detroit? Man, listen. You say F. Umar Johnson and his rhetoric. End of the day, you don't know crap about their culture. Be honest about it. You know what? If you still sitting up here supporting Jermaine Shoemake at this point in time in your life, you deserve to be scammed. Go ahead, sign your whole paychecks over to him. Put his name on your banking account. Go ahead. You deserve it. You deserve to be ripped off. If you're that dumb here in 2026 and you still believe in Jermaine Shoemake, that dusty crackhead looking scumbag that's supposed to be opening some school. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. But I understand, you know why Black men support and defend so-called Dr. Umar in 2025, 2026, because they just like him. I said this last year. They're just like him. They're a bunch of scumbag, effeminate, emotional, loser-ass Negroes just like Umar. because he say a bunch of pro-black, which is nothing but psychological masturbation. He says that, so you know that gives you it's like listening to a pastor every Sunday. You know the dude is scamming you. You know the dude is scamming you, but you don't care because his words make you have a psychological orgasm. So you know you keep defending him. You like that psychological orgasm because that's all that really matters to black males who are raised by their mothers, their single mothers, because you know it's emotions instead of facts and logic. Black men period operate off of facts and logic. Emotional males who are raised by females are raised off of you know, their feelings and emotions. Meanwhile, he's still in progress, hustling interviews. Well, he's being the class action lawsuit brought to him by Marianne Lawrence. That's going to be a whole different situation. But let's get back to this. I'm sorry, y'all get me off track. Let's go.
Yeah. Just to follow up on that question, and again, thank you for taking questions, Mr. Vice President. There's clearly a lot of emotion in Minnesota, across the country, over this incident. You're calling Renee Good a deranged leftist. There's been heated rhetoric that we've also heard from officials. What responsibility do you and the president have to diffuse some of the tension that we are seeing play out in Minnesota, bring down the temperature as this investigation is unfolding?
What we have a responsibility to do is to protect the people who are enforcing the law and protect the country writ large. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, you deserve to have the people's laws enforced in the United States of America. Now, again, I'm not happy that this woman lost her life. I'm not happy that this woman was there at a protest violating the law by interfering with a law enforcement action. I think that we can all recognize that the best way to turn down the temperature is to tell people to take their concerns about immigration policy to the ballot box. Stop assaulting and stop inciting violence against our law enforcement officers. That's the best way to take down the temperature. And we're not going to give in to terrorism on this. And that's exactly what's happened. People trying to antagonize, to commit acts of violence. They throw bricks at them. Sometimes they shoot at them. Sometimes they dox them. Sometimes they go to their place of residence and harass their families. This is classic terrorism. And we cannot say that when a far left fringe is inciting violence against our brave law enforcement officials, that we're no longer going to enforce the law. That's rewarding the very people who are engaged in this garbage. The actual reward that they just got is a new assistant attorney general who is going to prosecute and investigate this stuff even more aggressively than before.
Yeah, and you got a new dead body that you can prop up as a martyr. Throw her up, like a scarecrow, and martyr her. And in all honesty, I'm telling you right now, in all honesty, y'all lucky I'm not in charge, because when you attack ICE agents, to me, you are a domestic terrorist. And if you get your brains blown out by a federal agent after they told you to back up, and you want to throw snowballs and rocks and batteries and get all up in their face and grab their guns and they blow your brains out, that's qualified immunity. That's qualified immunity. And I keep going back. If you would have blown the brains out of people back during the California insurrection last year, when they freaked out because they're trying to free criminals. If you would have started blowing those people's brains out back then, you wouldn't be in this situation now. You wouldn't have had some goofy white boy throwing a Subway sandwich at a federal agent in flip-flops trying to run away, because he'd have been scared that he'd have got his brains blown out. Do you understand? If you'd have handled business back during the California riots, that insurrection, if you would have blown brains out back then, you wouldn't be in this situation now. Because people would be scared. You'd have set a precedent and been like, just like Florida said, if you throw a brick, your family will be called to collect your remains because that is an act of aggression. As far as we're concerned, you're a domestic terrorist. Who the fuck has the mental, I'm sorry, too much freedom in this country has allowed people to think that you can throw a brick at a federal agent. I've read people sitting up here talking about some ICE agents aren't real cops. Are you stupid? Let them show you what, excuse me, do you understand that an ICE agent outranks your local cop on the street? That's an ICE agent. That's a federal agent. They're loaded for bear. These guys are running around in military tactical gear, and you think that they're the Boy Scouts? In all honesty, I think ICE needs to change their tactics. These people want to get the following. Start breaking out their windshields. Just bust out their windshields. Start shooting out their tires. Disable their cars. Fuck their cars up. And if we see you again, we're going to arrest you for aiding and abetting terrorism. Fuck that shit up. Shoot them in the face, point blank range with a fucking pepper ball. Pow! Put an eye out. File all the lawsuits you want to. We don't give a shit. You're gonna lose them anyway because you have no fucking business following an ICE agent. These are federal agents. They need to start fucking these people up. Fuck them up. Fuck them up. Just destroy their cars, destroy their body parts. If you got to take a billy club and bust their skulls open, do it. If you got to break kneecaps, do it. The safety and security of this country is at stake. Give a fuck about your bleeding heart ass. You can bleed for real in the hospital bed. And we're not calling the ambulance for you. We're going to break your fucking skull and your arms and your legs right there on the streets and leave you there leaking. You call the ambulance. Since the police don't want to interfere, you can call the police to come and pick up your bodies, your broken bodies, while you're laying there crying and shit. Since you want to call us the Gestapo, I'll show you some Gestapo. I'll show you some Gestapo. I've been talking to people. Look, you notice ever since Ron DeSantis down there in Florida, him and the sheriffs, they said, hey, yo, you throw, you hit, you spit, we'll leave you graveyard dead. You can call your relatives to pick up your bodies. You notice you don't see videos coming out of Florida about, protesters getting the shit kicked out of them, do you? The last video I saw coming out of Florida, what happened? They were protesting Alligator Alcatraz, which is still running, by the way. They were protesting Alligator Alcatraz. The people, they waited for the light to turn red. They came out with their signs. Oh, shut down Alligator Alcatraz. And then somebody said, hey, the light getting ready to turn green. They hurried up and shuffled their little goofy asses back to the sidewalk and let the cars go by. Because in Florida, they say if you mob a car or you impede traffic, the people have the right to run your ass the fuck over. And we're not going to prosecute them at all. Remember that black dude got his ass kicked over some goddamn fog lights? Yeah. They don't play them games in Florida. You don't see them stories coming out of Florida, do you? You let people know exactly where you stand. You don't have to worry about this. He say, meanwhile, he's still in progressive about hustling interviews. Oh, you talking about Umar, yeah. North Korea talking about normalized. Yeah, we'll normalize them, all right. We'll normalize some North Korean stuff. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my question. So the head of Minnesota's investigations agency says that the U.S. Attorney's Office has essentially cut off the state investigations agency's access to the investigation. What is the precedent for that, and why shouldn't the Minnesota officials on the ground have access and evidence to work on this investigation?
Because why the hell would we turn over an FBI investigation to the local cops who were clearly compromised? You had the freaking chief of police of Minneapolis, Minnesota, sitting up here apologizing to Somalians. He's lucky he doesn't get fucking arrested for treason. So why the fuck would we, as the federal government, turn over our investigation to Barney Fife and Andy Griffin? We're the federal government. We outrank them. They don't tell us what to do. What the hell?
First of all, I wish the state officials in Minnesota would investigate why you have so many people who are using their vehicles and other means to actually interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The unprecedented thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity. I've never seen anything like that. It would get tossed out by a judge. So what I'd like Minnesota to focus on is the real issue, that they're encouraging people. Minneapolis officials are encouraging people to commit violence against ICE officials. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. Go ahead.
Vice President, thank you. You said earlier that there's a left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and make it impossible for ICE officers to do their job. You told my colleague just now that there's an investigation going on into that network.
Yep.
So if everything that you say is true, how does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing, by the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life. And that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry, guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
Yeah, like what the fuck is wrong with you niggas? Like seriously, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? This is this is why Trump has been dismantling Democratic media bit by bit. You know, you hear that PBS is finally getting ready to close their doors and NPR is getting ready to close their doors. And I mean, my running joke is they probably should have opened up a daycare center, a Somalian daycare center. They'd have got all the funding that they needed. But seriously, like how are you so? I know, and I've been emotional during this video right here because I have zero tolerance. I have zero tolerance for stupidity. Zero tolerance for stupidity. And the problem with the Confederate side of the aisle is that it's run by white, lesbian, man-hating feminist ideology. And a lot of black people subscribe to it. They subscribe to it. And then you wonder why we can't advance as a people, because we are too busy living up under plantation ideology. We hate the fact, we hate freedom. We hate freedom. As black people, we hate freedom. We want to be slaves again. We want massa. We want massa to take care of us again. What's the old saying? Like, black people don't want freedom, they just want a better slave master. Whereas Republicans don't want to be your master. They want you to go out here and earn it on your own. You know how they say pull yourself up by your bootstraps? The Republicans give you the bootstraps, the Democrats cut the strings, and you blame both parties because you figured that they owe you something. We gave you your freedom. Go out and make it on your own. But you can't do that. You can't do that. So every failure that you have, you blame it on all white people instead of yourself. You put yourselves in these traps, the welfare Section 8 food stamp trap. You put yourselves in that. You put yourselves in the low IQ trap. Not them. You the one that line up 12 hours before a store open to sell you some Jordans or the latest iPhone. You're the dumbass Negroes that do that. I've never owned a pair of Jordans or an iPhone. For what? Who am I trying to impress? You? Who are you? You're a nobody to me. You're a nobody to me. You're a slave. You are a slave to materialism. You are a slave to the Democratic Party. You're just a slave, and you don't even see it. You waste hours of your life, day after day after day, complaining about females, but you're the exact same person that you complain about. You do nothing to better yourself. Absolutely nothing. But all you do is complain and deflect. Somehow your failures are white people's fault, and you probably can't even name 5 white people by name that you've met in your life. First and last.
The investigation is still ongoing.
I said next question.
Mr. Vice President, I mean, you presumably watched the video yourself. There's not the slightest doubt in your mind, having viewed it, that the victim, you still believe that she deliberately tried to ram him despite seeing this video?
Look, I don't know what is in a person's heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I'm certain of is that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life. What I'm certain of is that she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy. I don't know what was in her heart and what was in her head, but I know that she violated the law, and I know that officer was acting in self-defense. It raises an interesting point, though. Look, if people want to say that we should have a legitimate debate about, what was she really doing, right? Was she panicking when she drove into this officer, or was she actually trying to ram him? That's a reasonable conversation. What's not reasonable is for so many of you to plaster all over the media that this was an innocent woman and that the ICE agent committed murder, which is what many of you have said explicitly and some of you have said implicitly. That's what I have an objection to. The idea that this was not justified is absurd, and I think everybody knows it in their heart.
The best way not to get shot by a federal agent is to mind your own fucking business. Can we agree on that? Give me a 1. Give me a 1. If the best way for you not to get shot or beat up or tasered or clubbed or maced by an ICE agent is to mind your own business, is that not the best way for you to make sure that you return home safely? Is to mind your own business? Give me a 1.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice President, following up
In the green jacket.
taking down the temperature, it seems like political violence is ratcheting up and riots could be around the corner. What steps does the administration have planned to try to unite America? Average people on both political sides are so tired of fighting with each other, and I think all the journalists in this room could agree with me that we don't want to be part of the problem. Do you have any words to unite America?
You know, I know you don't want to be part
California Cutie asked a question, and it's a good question. Hey, California Cutie. Hey.
the problem, and I think that's true of a lot of you. I'm not sure it's true for everybody, because the reporting over this has been one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen in media. I've never seen a case so misrepresented and misreported when you have a guy who is defending himself and is now being treated as some sort of federal assassin by so many of the people in this room. But first of all, let me say about crime. You mentioned violence. One of the things we're proudest about is that you saw violent crime over the last year drop by 20%. Why is that drop by 20%? Is it because we're attacking our law enforcement officers, or is it because we in the administration are empowering our law enforcement officers to enforce the law? I think that's one of the ways you take down the temperature, is you make people feel more secure and safe in their person and property. That's why we care so much about protecting our law enforcement, because it accrues to the benefit of the entire national community. I think that we can absolutely talk about the ways in which, you know, we can lower the temperature by discussing differences in a reasonable and rational way. Again, I'm happy to talk with any congressional Democrat or any of you about our immigration policy, about why I think it's necessary, about why I think it's in the best interest of the country, about why the President of the United States was elected to actually enforce the border for the first time in at least 4 years. So here's the problem. That's not the debate so many people are having. They are actively covering for people who are committing acts of violence against federal law enforcement. It is preposterous. The way to take down the temperature is to stop it. Have your debates about policy. Attack me. Attack the President of the United States. Don't attack our law enforcement officers. They are trying to do the job the American people demanded that they do. They are not policy actors. They are enforcing the law. They should be treated with a modicum of dignity and respect. And the fact that they're not is why incidents like yesterday happened. The one final point I'll make about this is, look, there's a part of me that feels very, very sad for this woman, not just because she lost her life, but because I think she is a victim of left-wing ideology. What young mother shows up and decides they're going to throw their car in front of ICE officers who are enforcing legitimate law? You've got to be a little brainwashed to get to that point to where you're willing, not just to protest, that's fine, not peacefully protest, but throw your vehicle in front of legitimate law enforcement officers and drive your car into them. To get to that point, you have to be, I think, radicalized in a very, very sad way. I certainly wish that she hadn't got there. I know there's an ICE officer right now who very much wishes he was not put in the position where he had to fire a gun to defend his own life. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. What's your message, following up on that, what's your message to the leaders in Minnesota, the governor of Minnesota, the mayor of Minneapolis, to calm down the situation on the ground, on the streets? What's your message also to those protesters who saw that video in a completely different way than you saw that video?
Well, first of all, I think if you watch every angle of that video, there is one angle where if you squint, you can maybe tell yourself that it's not clear what happened. But when you look at all angles of that video, it is very clear that her vehicle went right for the guy. She actually collided with him. And then that's, of course, when he fired his shots. That's obvious, okay? So what I'd say to the protesters is, by all means, protest peacefully, but make this about ideas. Make this about disagreement with our policy. Don't use your protest as a justification or an encouragement for people to go and incite violence and participate in violence against our law enforcement officials. To the people on the ground in Minneapolis, meaning the local officials in Minneapolis from Tim Walz on down, I'd say, look, why can't you just disagree with a given piece of immigration policy without turning law enforcement into the enemy? And think about, for example, a criminal law where a police officer goes and arrests somebody because they violated a criminal law. If you're mad about that, go and protest the politician who passed that law. Don't attack the police officer who's just doing their job. We had a wide open border under Joe Biden. I happen to think it's a good thing the President of the United States has closed it down. If you think that's a bad idea, criticize this administration for a policy decision. Don't attack our people for enforcing the law, because I guarantee you go to ICE, there are black people and white people, there are Democrats and Republicans, they are patriotic Americans who are trying to enforce the law. Attack me, lay off of our ICE agents. Yeah, in the blue, all the way, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice President. You've called on Tim Walz to resign. Can you lay out the case as to why he should step down?
Well, look, I think Tim Walz should resign because it's very clear either that he knew about the fraud in Minneapolis, he knew about the welfare fraud, or at the very least, he looked the other way. I mean, this is not
up on something.
This is not like Lex Luthor, right? This is not movie villain fraud. This is the lowest IQ possible fraud. This is, we're going to take the absence of kids and set up a daycare center where there are no children, and we're going to call our early childhood education center the Quality Leering Center. By the way, if you can't spell learning, maybe you shouldn't be in early childhood education. But people got rich off of this. We know that there were schools who either had no enrollment or at least they overstated their enrollment. Tim Walz, either it was unbelievable incompetence or he was in on the fraud. That's one of the things we're going to get to the bottom of. Sir.
Yeah, I'll cover that tomorrow.
Can you explain the difference between this Associate Attorney General and a special counsel? And do you envision this being a permanent position or having more of a limited scope?
Well, it's going to be permanent until we get to the bottom of what's going on. So I think it's going to last for at least the remainder of the administration. What's different about it from a special counsel is, if you remember, the Jack Smith case where the special counsel was found unconstitutional, one of the big issues there is that that person was not an appointed person, completely aside from all the other issues that the person was a lunatic and that the case had no merit. There was a fundamental constitutional issue, which is that he had not been appointed by the president and he had not been confirmed by the United States Senate. An assistant attorney general, what that's going to allow us to do is appoint this person, have them confirmed by the Senate. That's one difference. The more substantive difference is that this person is going to be part of a very broad interagency White House that's being led from the President of the United States on down. And that's going to give them the resources, the access to material and information to make this person more effective. I think a lot of people have asked, how are you really going to get to the heart of the fraud? We've been asking ourselves that question for the past couple of months, and we think this is the critical piece at the Department of Justice to really ramp this fraud investigation into high gear.
By the way, just came down the wire of ground news. U.S. federal agents shot 2 people in Portland, police says. On January 8, 2026, U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents shot 2 people on Southeast Main Street in East Portland shortly before 2:18 p.m. Good, because fuck those goddamn Antifa people in Portland. Amid downtown protests against ICE, the shooting coincided with demonstrations planned to confront Portland City Hall and followed the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good, who had no business doing what she was doing out there in Minnesota. A 37-year-old woman killed in Minneapolis. Portland police applied a tourniquet, called for emergency medical personnel, and secured both scenes, while KGW crews saw police tape outside at Adventist Health Portland, a damaged vehicle, and Legacy Emmanuel briefly locked down. Portland City Council recessed after police shot 2 people. President Elena Pertley-Guiney said, "These individuals are still alive and we're hoping for more positive updates." Good. I want them to live forever with their fucking crippling injuries. FBI Portland said it is leading an active ongoing investigation after a shooting about 2:15 p.m. in the 10,000 block of Main Street. A statement is expected soon, and CBP operates under DHS. It's escalating.
In the red tie, yeah.
Vice President Vance, I wanted to ask, what's your message to far leftist agitators who feel emboldened to obstruct ICE activity in Minnesota and around the country?
Well, I think they shouldn't feel emboldened because now they have an assistant attorney general who is going to prosecute and investigate their fraud and their violence more aggressively than it has ever been investigated in the United States of America. We are doing so much to try to find the financing networks and the domestic terrorism networks that legitimate this violence, that fund this violence, and that, of course, engage in the violence. These people should not feel emboldened because they have, for the first time, maybe in American history, an administration that is not going to tolerate political violence of any kind from anywhere. Yeah.
We not clear today that the entire weight of the federal government is behind these ICE agents and this ICE agent in particular. There is still a federal investigation happening on the ground. Does that mean that they are not looking into this ICE agent at all? They are just focused on the woman who was in the car? What is the investigation if the federal government has already determined that its weight is behind this ICE investigation?
So what do you mean when you say investigation? Do you mean investigation of the shooting yesterday or of the fraud that's happening in Minneapolis?
Yesterday.
Okay, look, DHS, as I understand it, has an investigation already ongoing. I know that other organs of our government are looking at this. So yes, there's certainly an investigation that's happening right now. But as part of the broader fraud investigation, a lot of what we're doing with the Department of Justice has already started. We've got over 1,500 subpoenas. We've got people this morning, actually, we're going door to door to actually knock on some of these fraudulent care centers, these fraudulent social services organizations to get to the bottom of what's going on there. So the investigation in some ways has already been ramping up into the anti-fraud element for at least a few weeks. What we're trying to do is supercharge it and make sure there's a designated person within the Department of Justice who completely controls that particular focus.
Just to follow up on that, Mr. Vice President, on the agent, is he still on duty or has he been placed on leave, on administrative leave? And what really was the target of the operation on Wednesday? ICE operation on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was a legitimate law enforcement operation. We were going door to door to try to find criminal illegal aliens and deport them from the United States of America, because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws. Whether he's been placed on administrative leave, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd refer it to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can follow up. I will say, look, I would appreciate everybody saying a prayer for that agent. Look, in the past 6 months, he has been hit twice by a motor vehicle. One time, the first time, it led to over 30 stitches and very serious injuries to his legs. This is a guy who's actually done a very, very important job for the United States of America. He's been assaulted, he's been attacked, he's been injured because of it. He deserves a debt of gratitude. And I think the media prejudging and talking about this guy as if he's a murderer is one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen from the American media.
Yeah, more than likely, he's probably on, paid leave, as far as like the psychological damage, because I mean, killing somebody is not an easy thing. And this is the second time he's been assaulted by some moron, some leftist moron who wants to protect criminal illegals. So I'm pretty sure after he was released from the hospital, made sure he was cool, they sent him home. He's not in Minnesota at all. He's at home, resting. And my thing is, if you run up on an ICE agent's house talking shit, they have every right to blow your fucking brains out because you're a terrorist. Why are you showing up at my house? Why are you showing up at my house? You're not about to protest me. That's not about to happen. You are a terrorist. They have every right to kill you if you show up at their house talking shit. That's why I tell y'all, show up if you want to. Pull up. Pull up. You so tough, pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. I'm not joking. I'm not some tough guy. I'm just saying, pull up. Pull up. Why do you think people tell you to pull up? Pull up. The law is on my side. Pull up.
President, what is your specific role in the future of Venezuela? And I'm wondering, could you confirm reports that the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was kept out of the planning for the operations because of her past concerns about military involvement in Venezuela?
So I've heard a couple of things. One, that I was kept out of the planning for the Venezuela operation. That's false. And another, that Tulsi was kept out of the planning for Venezuela operations. That's completely false. Look, we're all part of the same team. And one of the things that is really amazing about that operation is that we kept it very tight to the senior cabinet level officials and related officials in our government.
The shooter was hit. We went over the video yesterday. The shooter was hit. There's 3 different angles. The angle that I saw, you can see the guy standing in front of the car. The one that they keep showing, the video that they keep showing, people are under the misunderstanding that the guy who told her to get out of the car that was at the window, people think that he's the shooter. No. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me show y'all the shooter. Let me show y'all the shooter. Let me show y'all the shooter. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to show y'all the shooter from this angle. Okay, hold on. People think this guy's the shooter. This guy's not the shooter. I'm going to show you the shooter. No! The one that's in her car. No! He's right here. He's right here. Let me back it up. He right here. This is the shooter. This is the shooter right here. He's in front of the car. This is the guy that they're talking about right here, not this guy. Because people talking about all the wheels and he hit his foot. No, we're not talking about this guy. We're talking about this guy. And from the other angle, taken from a camera up front, he's in front of the car.
No! No! Shame!
Him right here. This is the guy she clipped with the car. This is the shooter. Because she clipped him with her car. And he popped her ass. Not this guy. Not this guy, but the guy in front of the car. That's what this car is. This car is another ICE car. She blocked the road. They got out from this car. Like, hold on, chick. What are you doing?
No! No! Shame! Shame!
He popped her. He popped her because she clipped him. The narrative, this is why CNN and all these other left wing, they don't want to talk about this guy. They keep talking about this guy. They forever talking about this guy. Not this guy. At any rate.
And we kept this operation secret for a very long time. I'm very proud of that. I think it suggests that the team works very well together. Well, looking ahead, what is my role? Look, my role is going to be whatever the president asks me to do. Well, every other day, I'm chairing the meeting that we do on this among White House principals to talk about next steps to try to ensure that Venezuela is stable. And as the president has directed us to do, to ensure that the new Venezuelan government actually listens to the United States and does what the United States needs it to do under our country's best interest. So I'm going to be as involved as the president wants me to be. So far, that's been very involved. And I'll keep on doing that so long as the president asks me to do it. In the purple.
Yes. Even beyond the White House.
Sorry, we'll go purple and then we'll go Pink, or whatever that is. It's right.
And then beige. All right.
Okay.
Are there any indications, you talked about the network, are there any indications that the lady who was shot, I know there are different reports from there, her wife said they were new to the area. Are there any indications she may have been a paid agitator, and maybe that there are others that were brought to the area, considering everything that's going on in Minneapolis?
Yeah, she got Kennedy back into the left.
I wouldn't say that she was paid. I don't have the evidence to say that one way or the other. What I do know is that she was violating the law. And if you just look at the eyewitness accounts, they were saying she was there to prevent the enforcement of the law. She was trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. That much is obviously clear. The rest of it, of course, is part of the reason why we investigate this stuff. Yeah.
Mr. Vice President, even beyond the war powers resolution today, Congress has bucked President Trump on issues like tariffs. Are you concerned that President Trump is losing his grip on Republicans and the Congress, and what are you going to do about it?
No, I'm not concerned at all. First of all, we talked to some of the senators who were going to vote the wrong way, in my view, on this resolution today. Much of their argument was based more on a legal technicality than any disagreement in policy. If you look at the people who actually voted, every single one of them have supported the administration's plan. Second of all, as the president, I believe himself has already said, every president, Democrat or Republican, believes the War Powers Act is fundamentally a fake and unconstitutional law. It's not going to change anything about how we conduct foreign policy over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, and that'll continue to be how we approach things. Go ahead.
The Monroe Doctrine.
And so we are seeing, regarding Iran, we are seeing the protests in Iran these days. The cities are begging for help from the U.S. and Israel, naming streets in the city after President Trump. It seems there is an opportunity here that may not come again. Will the United States stand by the citizens of Iran? And if Israel decides to strike again the nuclear sites in Iran, is the U.S. expected to take part?
Well, look, we certainly stand by anybody who's engaged in peaceful protests, anybody who's trying to exert their rights for free association and to have their voices heard. Obviously, the Iranian regime has a lot of problems. And as the President of the United States has said, the smartest thing for them to have done, it was true 2 months ago, it's true today, is for them to actually have a real negotiation with the United States about what we need to see when it comes to their nuclear program. I'll let the president speak to what we're going to do in the future, but we certainly stand with anybody across the world, including the Iranian people who are advocating for their rights.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all know what's going on in Iran, and we'll probably cover that. Yeah, I did that, Detroit. If y'all don't know what's going on in Iran, the people are revolting against the Ayatollah Khamenei. They even named streets Trump Boulevard and everything. And Trump told Iran, look, if you harm any protesters, we're going to come and take care of you. You saw what we just did to Maduro. You think we can't find y'all too? We don't have to put boots on the ground. We'll send some Black Hawks. You saw how quickly we took care of Maduro. He challenged us. We went and picked him up and was standing outside waiting on McDonald's to open up so we could get some McGriddles and some pancakes and some sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. Please don't make us have to come and get you. So the people of Iran, they letting Trump is... the people of Iran are now revolting against their Sharia law goat fucking government. Their female suppressive genital mutilation child raping government. They're having an all out, you talk about an insurrection. These people are overthrowing their government, and Trump is sitting up there and he's looking like, go ahead, fire a bullet. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Because that's what the U.S. is trying to do. This is what George Soros and BlackRock and them are trying to do with these paid protesters. They're trying to get enough people to overthrow the U.S. government. But the thing about it is that you got a bunch of people over the age of 40. Bunch of jobless fucks calling themselves trying to overthrow the government, and it's not going to work. So Iran is about to go through a regime change simply through the will of the people. You say, while Putin feel like it was unjustifiably and unnecessary to do that, which he actually disagrees, and China sought the same. But anytime China will make their move, China right now is their people are doing the same thing that the people of Iran is doing right now. They're revolting against their government. That China Observer video, remember I did the whole China effect the other day, Monday, when we looked at what China was going on with China in Venezuela? Yeah, apparently now the people of China are starting to revolt against their government. They're burning down their factories and everything. China is going through an insurrection because of Maduro, because of Iran. Trump is changing the world. Trump is changing the world. Communist dictators are falling. Do you understand? Their people are like, enough. They realize that capitalism is the way to go. American capitalism done correctly, where there's checks and balances on the people's tax dollars, is the way to go. They're getting it now. You think Putin doesn't have control of the purse strings in Russia? I mean, I don't understand. I don't know if they have corruption within their local governments in Russia, but Russia, how did Russia fall? How did they go from a communist government to now a capitalist government? Tear down this wall. Ronald Reagan caused that shit to happen way back in the 80s, late 80s. Now Russia is thriving. If anything, Russia wants to get this Ukraine shit over with. They want to get the minerals. Remember when Putin came to Alaska and he met with Trump? Him and Trump have been talking about, hey, look, ease up on these sanctions. We want in on the trade market, the world trade market. Because they understand now that you have a manhood has been brought back into the U.S. government due to his leadership. Well, fuck it. Let's make a deal. We'll do some tariffs with you. We can produce some stuff. Bring your factories here. Let's open up. They want to be part of the world trade market. They just need to get the money from Ukraine, from the Ukrainian soil. They have to do that. They're getting it from Africa, but they definitely need certain minerals from Ukraine. And people don't understand that, because dumb niggas think that this is all about racism. No, this is about fucking mineral rights. This is about resources. We're on a planet with finite resources. The only way you're going to be strong and stay strong is because you have the resources, not only to feed your people, but to feed your military machine. And people don't get that. Their citizenry is too intelligent to be wrapped up in their religious goofiness any longer. Yeah, in Iran, yeah. You say, yet NATO is getting dismantled by USA by taking over Greenland, but Denmark Prime Minister is warning Trump not to. But Trump has it to do as necessary. Look, we are the UN. I don't know why people don't understand that. I'm not coming at you, Troy, but we are the UN. We are NATO. You buy your weapons from us. When somebody all of a sudden decides to stand up and slap England in the fucking mouth, who do they call? Who do they call? Who does England call? You think they call James Bond, the fictional 007 character, to go out there and fight their battles? No, they call us. All of NATO countries combined has 1/4 of the power of the United States. What's up, no dudes? Yeah, USA is just USA. Yeah, but all of the countries combined in NATO and the UN have 1/4 of the power of the United States. Now, remember Brandon Johnson appealed to NATO, the UN. He did the video conference, and they was like, "Well, the U.S. ambassador isn't here. He's never in these meetings. Maybe he'll be in the meeting that we go to next. We'll talk to him and see what happens." Yeah, you never heard anything else about that. You know why? How do you go to Michael Myers and complain about Michael Myers? Anyway, people really don't know that. You know what? The ignorance of the average American is astounding.
Just a couple more questions. Yeah,
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Concerning Venezuela, how would you assure the Caribbean region that they will remain a zone of peace? Because some member states in the region are concerned.
Well, look, the president had a very productive phone call with the president of Colombia yesterday, and we continue to talk at all levels of government with a number of our friends in the Caribbean region. I actually think this is really good for peace in the Caribbean, because when you take away a major source of illegal cartel revenue, which is the cocaine trade, the fentanyl trade, other sources of illicit revenue, you actually remove the power of one of the main destabilizing forces in Latin America and in the Caribbean. I really do think, look, we say it all the time, this is the president of peace. One of the ways that you establish peace in your own hemisphere is to make it clear that the United States is going to be respected, that the United States is willing to take power away from criminal cartel organizations and give it to legitimate governments. That's how we see the future of the Western Hemisphere, and we think it's going to be much more peaceful than it was certainly under Joe Biden. I'll take one more question.
Thank you. The United States is the #1 superpower of this Western Hemisphere. There are more riches in South America than they say that are in Africa. It's definitely one. It is baffling that the United States never went to South America and decided to build and maintain and support and uplift the people of South America. So therefore, you not only do you have a 100% permanent source of energy, but you got allies on. There's nobody else over here. South America, you ain't fucking doing no goddamn Popeye rowboat to another country in South America. What the fuck? You should have been developing this. South America should be a damn near on par with the United States when it comes to technology, not weaponry, but as far as like internet, coffee machines, streets paved with gold, infrastructure. I mean, goddamn, we should be going to like Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, Argentina. I mean, it should be like open. Don't even really need a passport. That should be America's playground where you feel so goddamn safe. Everything's popping, fresh, new. These countries should be 100% under the protection of the United States. So much so that even Canada be like, you know what? Fuck England. We're part of the United States. We should have been developing South America. We should have been getting all our resources from South America. We should have been building up South America better than we build up America. All of this should be one big giant connector. Fuck the cocaine. You should have been turning all of them drugs, instead of using it for recreation. This should be medicinal use. But you had leaders who were so stupid, low IQ, and self-centered, and greedy, and criminalistic that they never did it. What was the purpose of the Monroe Doctrine if you didn't use it to your fucking advantage? Cuba should be like Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. I mean, these places should be like Shangri-La. Not just for degenerate passport bros, but I mean like for the average American. You should go down there and it'd be like anywhere into Toon World where the fucking birds are singing your name. Hi, Yeti. Hi, Yeti. Hi, Yeti. You know what I'm saying? I mean, damn. You just let these people suffer sitting on trillions of dollars of resources that you could have been fucking trading with these people and turn their fucking world completely around to where we wouldn't even have an immigration problem. There would be no such thing as a Tren de Alagra. There would be no thing as a damn cartel, Sinalaga, and all of that. These people shouldn't exist because you've developed their world, their country so much in tune with us that China, Russia, Iran, whatever, nobody, they be looking like, get the fuck out of here. A Maduro wouldn't even exist. A Hugo Chavez wouldn't even exist. They be looking at these people like they're crazy. We're under the protection of the United States. We can leave our VCRs on the porch every night. For those of y'all remember Big Daddy Kane. You kidding me? We totally dropped the ball on South America as a country for decades. We need to reverse that. We need to change that. We need to go in there with the digger machines and all of that. Be like, hey, look, you're about to be a prosperous continent because of us. All you got to do is just keep the criminals in check, and we got you. Your streets are going to be pretty much kind of quote unquote paved with gold because we're going to split the resources with you. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's get to the last question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Vice President, thank you. On Greenland, do you have a message for European leaders? Many in Europe reject the idea that the island could be for sale.
Well, first of all, Secretary Rubio, I believe, is meeting with the leaders of Denmark and Greenland next week. I want to say it is, but maybe it's the week after that. We'll continue to deliver some of these messages in private, some of them in public. But I guess my advice to European leaders and anybody else would be to take the President of the United States seriously. What has he said about Greenland? Set to the side the crazy overreactions that I've seen from the press and from certain people in Europe. What has the President said? Number one, Greenland is really important, not just to America's missile defense, but to the world's missile defense. Number two, we know that there are hostile adversaries that have shown a lot of interest in that particular territory, that particular slice of the world. So what we're asking our European friends to do is to take the security of that landmass more seriously, because if they're not, the United States is going to have to do something about it. What that is, I'll leave that to the President as we continue to engage in diplomacy with our European friends and everybody on this particular topic. And again, thank you all for listening. Thanks for taking questions. And I just ask you, look, this is politics, and often Republicans and get in arguments with the press about things. I understand that. I think it's really irresponsible for you guys to go out there and imply or tell the American people that a guy who defended himself from being rammed by an automobile is guilty of murder. Be a little bit more careful. We're going to talk about toning down the temperature, which I know the President wants to do, and I certainly want to do. One of the ways we tone down the temperature is to have a media that tells the truth. I encourage you all to do that. God bless you.
That's your future president right there. That's our future president come 2028. Come on. It's gonna be between, if Rubio runs against him, it's gonna be between him and Rubio, and whoever gets the nomination. I don't give a damn who gets the nomination. Between him and Rubio, whichever one needs to be the VP. But more than likely, he'll be president. Vance will be president. He is highly presidential. I mean, I'm not crapping on Rubio. Mark Rubio has been doing a fantastic job. He's been a Jamaican wearing several hats. Mark Rubio got more jobs in the White House than anybody right now. But if he run for president, Rubio, if he gets the nomination, which I say, of course he's going to get it, Rubio should be his VP. And one of the biggest orders that they should have is to the development of South America. That should be their number one thing. Like, we're going to go down to South America. We're going to clean out the cartels. If Trump don't do it first, we're going to clean out the cartels, the drug trade. Look, we're going to make a deal. Either you all can keep your coca fields, your drug fields, your cocaine fields, everything. But look, we're going to use it for medicinal purposes. So either we can pay you for your cocoa fields and use it, because cocaine does have medicinal purposes. Marijuana has medicinal purposes. We know this. Kill the human trafficking. Kill that shit. But instead of this being an underground criminal economy, we're going to use it for medicinal purposes. Either we can pay you all to do it, or we can murder you and take over your fields and do it anyway. What's your choice? How do you want to play it? Because we have no problems firing up the helicopters and blasting the dun 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 while you're sleeping. We'll wake you up to that shit. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Let's sign this paperwork, and therefore you guys can still have control of your lands. You can have some workers. You can pay them a true livable wage. And we'll get it done. We'll develop your countries. We can end the bloodshed and the deaths and the criminal activity. You can become legit businessmen instead of scumbags. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And develop South America from the rooter to the tutor. Greenland? Hey, look, we'll just buy it from you. How about that? We'll buy Greenland from you. There's no point in trying. I mean, there's no reason to have any type of military intervention on Greenland. It only houses about 40,000 people. What the fuck? That's like taking over goddamn Salt Lake City, Utah. Like, there's no point. We'll just pay you to be a part. We'll annex you. You'll get all the rights and protections of the United States. Because we don't want Russia and China to have the military strategic advantage on the United States through the Greenland. Canada, we're looking at you too. What you want to do? What you want to do? You might as well become a state. You little shitty little goddamn provinces and fucking states in the snow. You can't even go but so high in the snow because it's a barren wasteland with Bigfoots and Yetis and monsters and shit. You might as well. Niagara Falls is dried up. You might as well. You might as well. England don't give a fuck about you. They succumb to Sharia law. I mean, seriously. He said Trump wants the temperature to rise to keep the light of the Epstein file. What Epstein file? Epstein files are pretty much the Clinton files. Patriot Games starring Harrison for the Maple Leaf State. I mean, I'm just serious. I'm serious. In all honesty, just strike deals with these countries here in this side of the world and have us all unified. Have us all unified. And we all share the wealth. We all share the wealth, and all these countries get security and safe nations and everything. I mean, you see what the South American Drake has done for El Salvador with the Supermax prison and everything. Crime is down. Like, we can do that for all South American countries. We can lock up all your goddamn criminals. We can turn this place into a haven, a tourist spot. You know how many Americans would love to go to South America? If you lock up the criminals and you start developing that country, are you kidding me? The money, I mean, just the money alone, just from your natural resources, trillions of dollars in natural resources, you're just sitting on it. Kill the communism. Turn it to capitalists. Just keep control of your money. Get some higher, make sure your accounting is 100. And you will be a very prosperous nation. You say, in my opinion, I think Trump could couple more states, including Canada and South America. Right. I mean, good Lord. This Western hemisphere should be untouchable. This should be the greatest hemisphere on the planet. It really should. As they say, there's more resources in South America than there are in Africa. I wouldn't even want to fuck with Africa. The United States, like, fuck Africa. I mean, they pretty much did say fuck Africa. Let's be honest. When they pulled the white farmers out of South Africa, fuck Africa. Let China and Russia have it. We got South America. Let them have it. Let them have it. We got South America. Y'all mind y'all P's and Q's. We'll mind our P's and Q's. We'll do the tariff deals with y'all. You know, we'll open up the world to you. We'll do the tariffs. We'll sell y'all stuff. We'll buy your stuff. But you ain't going to be running shit on this side of the Atlantic or the Pacific. Notice how Project 2925 doesn't talk about that. You know what? I think he's meant 2025. You know, I never did read that crap because I knew it was garbage. But even if it was, again, like I said, decades ago, you should have been doing this. You should have been developing South America. You should have been developing it. No, I got you. I got you, Detroit. You should have been developing South America decades ago. You should have been in South America 100 years ago. How the fuck you make a Monroe Doctrine, but you lead these people to their own devices when you should have been cutting deals with all of their leaders? Like, hey, look, we'll come in, we'll extract your natural resources, we'll split it 50-50. We'll build up your infrastructure. We'll send your kids to school. All right. They can learn. You can keep your native language, but we're definitely going to teach you English. And at the same time, we're going to teach your children how to maintain this infrastructure from the rooter to the tutor, how to build the roads, how to pave them, how to build the buildings, how to build the power plants and the semiconductors. Everything. We're going to give you a true top-notch American education. And you can maintain your quote-unquote sovereignty, but do understand that we getting 50%. You have to keep your crime levels down. And you can come up here with your Venezuelan passport or whatever. Yeah, we visit the United States. Yeah. You get all the rights and protections and guarantees, but you don't get to vote in our elections. But you can come up here. Come on up. You wouldn't have to have the need for asylum seekers and all of that stuff coming out of South America. You wouldn't have had a need for that. All of these Hispanics coming up here, please, they would have already been part of the American system, because they're like, hell, yeah, we're part of the Western Hemispheric system. We can come and go to from the very bottom of Argentina to freaking Alaska with our passports, and we still get the same rights and protections as we would as a U.S. system, U.S. citizen, because we are Western Hemispheric citizens. We're all protected. We're all protected. We're one. That's how you smash borders. I mean, you still have to have them, but that's how you have to. That's how you smash borders. Whichever is the dominant country in your region, you follow their rules, laws, and regulations and customs and everything. So if you bring your goddamn monkey ass to the United States, there's no shitting in the streets. You use a toilet and wipe your ass like everybody else. You wouldn't have all of this. You wouldn't have all of this psychotic garbage going on with ICE agents and all of this. None of that would be going on. But again, short-sighted leadership, criminal leadership. I mean, do you understand America was founded West Side? Yeah, unlike Africa, exactly. You wouldn't have divided nations like that. You would be divided by governments, the regional governors, but you wouldn't be divided. You wouldn't be divided through warring by resources. Do you understand? You can be divided by beliefs, but you wouldn't be divided by resources, because the U.S. would have made sure that everybody's resources was allocated respectively. How do you think that when they say Trump ended 8 wars, how do you think he ended the 8 fucking wars? The Congo, Rwanda, whatnot. Hey, look, y'all fighting over resources. Tell you what, we'll bring in the machines. We'll split the resources equally between both nations. We know where y'all borders are. We'll recognize your borders, and we'll help build your infrastructures and your nations up accordingly based on your resources. There's no need to fight anymore. In all honesty, that's what South Africa, the South African president, when he came to the White House, that's what he wanted to do. But nigga, you in the back pocket of Russia and China. You part of BRICS. And you racist. Well, United States is racist. I'm sorry. We're not killing black farmers. They're not getting chopped up in their sleep. Yeah, we got an evil corporation in Monsanto that's not only taking over black farms, they taking over everybody's farm. Don't worry, we're dealing with that. Alberta in Canada has motivates to dislike Canada and joining America for a reason. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't click on that. Oh, there we go. All right. I mean, good Lord. That's what a true leader, that's what they would do. But South Africa tried to play us. They tried to play us on some fuck shit, and Trump kicked their ass right out of the White House, just like he kicked Zelensky's little midget ass right up out of the White House. You're not about to play us for stupid. You ain't finna play us stupid. You came here with your goddamn handout, but you don't want to concede what we want you to do. No, thank you. Go deal with the Russians. Goddamn Venezuela had all this Chinese technology that was supposed to detect if U.S. forces was to come in and exercise the Monroe Doctrine and kidnap Maduro, arrest Maduro. It got me saying that stupid shit. Arrest Maduro on an international warrant and everything. And That shit didn't even work. Didn't even work. Let me drop this on y'all.
Not Somalian daycare services. Not Somalian. Somalian. No. And these Somalians ripped the government off for $9 billion with a B, bitch. Bad Somalian. I'm just trying to get $5,000 plus gratuity. These motherfuckers didn't even have kids. I got 6 ugly ass kids of my own. Come subsidize these motherfuckers. Oh, you don't want to give me a subsidy because I'm black? Or is it because I don't deal with doo-doo?
DeAndre, Somalians are black too.
Man, what the fuck you talking about, man? Somalians is pirates. I seen Pirates of the Caribbean. It ain't nothing but a bunch of stinky white people with dreadlocks and skirts. Yarr! Man, I was getting $5,000 plus gratuity per child, and the Somalians went crazy. Hit them people for billions. Motherfucker, you supposed to be inconspicuous. Ain't nothing inconspicuous about $1 billion damn dollars.
DeAndre, who taught you inconspicuous?
Hey, man, you fat ass boy. We teach kids things they really need to know. How to read, how to count, how to know when a motherfucker lying in your goddamn face. You know when they telling a lie, they'll have a big hat, an eye patch, a parrot on their shoulder. Don't trust those motherfucking kids. Man, how the government get scammed by a bitch with a peg leg?
Those are Somalians.
What?
Dude, those are them.
Nah, them motherfuckers ugly.
No, those are pirates.
No, those are ugly people. That's what they are. Pirates got dreadlocks and skirt and a patch on their eye. And now one of them had no patch, Jake. Not one nobody. I'm the daycare 9.
No, gentlemen, Mr. Butler's been up north, I hear. Don't you agree with us, Mr. Butler?
I think it's hard winning a war with words, gentlemen.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, Mr. Hamilton, there's not a cannon factory in the whole South.
What difference does that make, sir, to a gentleman?
I'm afraid it's going to make a great deal of difference to a great many gentlemen, sir.
Are you hinting, Mr. Butler, that the Yankees can lick us?
No, I'm not hinting. I'm saying very plainly that the Yankees are better equipped than we. They've got factories, shipyards, coal mines, and a fleet to bottle up our harbors and starve us to death. All we've got is cotton and slaves and arrogance.
That's treachery!
A problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Right. Hi. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck out!